Intrepid viewers, so good to be in your time zone. Dr. Lena coming to you from Buenos Aires. Okay, so we had that moment of joy when the Yeti found out he wasn't having a jury trial. Why? Because his lawyer, Alina Habar, had failed to tick the box for a jury trial. Can you believe it? Of course you can, because he only has the world's worst lawyers left. All the good ones have long gone. The mediocre ones have given up in despair. The bad ones have even refused to work for him because they don't get paid. And that means he's only left with the complete dross. Okay, so that was joy. Then we've got the eternal problem. What do you do about a gag order and this man, right? So it seems to me that the Dems and the judiciary are playing by the rules of baseball and Trump is playing gridiron. They're not on the same page, right? Because the judge in New York said, I am issuing this gag order. Do you understand? Yes, nods the Yeti. And he walked out the front and said, there's no gag order. And you know what? He's right. There is no effective gag order. They won't put an ex-president in jail. If they fine him, he won't pay. What on earth are they going to do with him? So let's see. We'll just dive in. Is there anything they can do to muzzle him? Oh my goodness. They need an elephant tranquilizer. They really do. Oh, my cards are doing weird things. Okay. How to muzzle the Yeti is the question. Can they do anything? Have a look here. The card's the right way up, Lena. What have we got on the bottom? The false knight. Well, they are thinking about it. Ooh, big cards here. 3 major arcana. Plus the card here of the 2 of Pentacles. Imagine what it's like trying to juggle when you're on a boat, okay? Because that's what they're trying to do. You see how uneven the surface is? And they've got to try and find a way through, weighing up all these considerations, like him being a past president, etc. Then we have the 3 big cards. We've got the Empress. This is really, to me, an expansion of the problem. So the Empress energy, you know, expands things. This is going to become worse and worse. You then have the Devil and the Death card. Maybe they'll have to find a way. Because at the moment, he is in the big chair, right? And these are the judiciary. They're chained to convention. No one's been asked to deal with this before, right? And they're chained. Death. The king is being trampled. When we designed these cards, the One World Tarot, we wanted it to look a bit like Trump. And death comes for everyone, including the king. So, maybe it'll be a directive, almost bypass him and be a directive that his stuff cannot be shown on your platform or something like that. Could there be such a thing? I don't know. But I think they'll get there in the end because they're going to have plenty of practice, right? At the moment, they don't know what to do. Well, so much for a working democracy, really. Speaking of, let me digress, intrepid viewers. Look, as Biden said last week, democracy doesn't have to end with a rifle. It can end with good people failing to hold others accountable, or words to that effect. What do you actually say? Good people failing to stand up, condemn these attacks on democracy. So what the judiciary needs and what the Dems need is support from Americans to really lobby, be seen, be heard, you know, because it's all happening in a vacuum. Remember, just after the Yeti got elected and 3 million women took to the streets, you remember the wonderful pussy hats and all of that. It needs something like that to give them the gravitas to come down on him. Okay? All right. So this year, soon, Virginia is having an off-year election. 140 seats are up for grabs in Virginia. Let's have a look at how that will go. Let's have a look. Virginia. Pentacles. People will be voting about money. Oh, a story could come out in Virginia about public monies. You've got the Queen of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. Pages are messages about money, the card of theft. So there could be a scandal, a big financial scandal in Virginia between now and these elections. Interesting. Government law and order here, right? The theft could involve the present government. And again, we have the death card. I think people will see a bit, finally, a little bit of a glimmer that the GOP is not there representing them in government. Now, let me just do a couple of other cards on that. Will the Dems do well? I'll put those cards aside. Will the Dems do well in Virginia? Will the Dems do well in Virginia? Will the Dems do well? Celebration, the Empress, things were Wheel of Fortune. It's time. It's time. This is interesting. I'm loving this. Okay, the Ten of Pentacles, intergenerational wealth and power has been there. With this, I think it's tied to that financial news we've yet to hear. Celebration for the Dems, I think they're going to do okay. And it's interesting, this card turned up again too, and I put them back in the deck in different places. So I think they're going to gain seats. They might not gain total power, but they're going to gain seats. And in a nick of time, not a minute too soon. Things are turning. This is an upward turn of the wheel for the Dems. I'm pleased about that. Very pleased about that. Okay, so what I want to say too here about this Grim Reaper card. Okay, now my second digression. The Dems need to get on the front foot now. It's only 7 weeks going into 6 weeks until the shutdown. They need to keep saying that the GOP, and I saw an article this morning saying the GOP in the House is a failed state in itself. There's no legislation coming through. They've got no idea what they're doing. It's the politics of belligerence. It's the politics of hate. And someone else called it legislative arson. That's what they're about. The Dems need to point this out ahead of time and hammer it home over the next 7 weeks. These people are not interested in the people who elected them. They're certainly not interested in you if you're a Dem voter in their district. All they're interested in is destruction. This has to be pointed out over and over. And so it's not a surprise when they vote against the government staying open next time. You know, like, duh, this is the death of democracy that is on the horizon if people don't G up and stand up, but at least realize what is happening. It's a very, very, very pointed time in history. Very, very important. Then you've got the impossibly awful Matt Gaetz, who came out this morning and said he's looking in his wife's Bible for inspiration about who should be the next speaker. Please, vomit. And the fill-in speaker, first job on the agenda was to kick Nancy Pelosi out of her office while she was at the funeral of Dianne Feinstein. This is where they're at. Start calling them out as badly behaved children, because that's what they are. Let's have a look at the truly demonic Matt Gaetz. The hypocrisy of these people. We know from the case that started and looked like it was going to take him out. Remember that case, trafficking minors across state lines, etc., illicit drug use, you know, one thing and another. And he managed to escape that. But let's have a look. Matt Gaetz in the next 12 months. Matt Gaetz in the next 12 months. Matt Gaetz. Oops. We'll keep that one. Knight of Swords. That's so him. All right. Matt Gaetz. Look, what are the chances? What are the chances? 78 cards. Whenever we talk about these people, the devil keeps coming up. I just described him in those terms. You know, oh, wow. But here he is, the impulsive knight. Doesn't care, take no prisoners, doesn't care who dies in the process, certainly doesn't care about the millions of Americans who die from preventable illness because they're American. Let's not go there. So this Knight of Swords, it's got some irky energy around it. It can be the card of jealousy and other things. Oh, I think he might be jealous of Trump. Interesting emotion, isn't it? But he hasn't got the Yeti's charisma. That'd be charisma with a K. I mean, I use the word very generally. I think he's a bit jealous of Trump, wants to do things that way. But something legal's going to come after his sorry ass. You know, look, this is the truth-telling sword, cutting through the BS, as we say in Tarotland, with this card. At the moment, he's riding high, he's sitting pretty, he's this King of Wands here. This is him. He feels he's got away with everything. But I'll leave you with that image of Matt Gaetz, right? I don't know if he can keep enough people in his own stable, you know, to back him, because my impression is he isn't popular even with the House GOP. We know he wants to run for governor of Florida, but I think this is talking about in the House. Yeah. Okay, so I think within about a year, hopefully sooner, God, we're all aging in this process, intrepid viewers. Hopefully within a year, Matt Gaetz will have some more legal problems. Hopefully to say. Now, the other thing I want to talk about was Amazon is being sued. The Federal Trade Commission is suing Amazon for unfair trade practices. In other words, being a monopoly. So let's have a look at the lawsuit against Amazon by the Fair Trade Commission. Let's have a look here. Before I do that, in terms of the GOP tearing itself apart, which is something we've talked about before, a conservative radio host, Charlie Kirk, just prior to the vote on McCarthy, he said on his conservative radio show, "I'm not sure it's such a great idea to oust McCarthy." Well, he got on-air death threats, okay, from his own listeners. And this is what is happening. He was accused instantly of being a rhino, etc., etc. So you cannot please these people. There is no alternative point of view. There's not another angle to take. There's nothing else to be thought about or talked about. It's my way or the highway stuff. So that has to be a challenge for all conservatives going forward, because what happens is as soon as someone speaks up, they're ousted from the arena. And this is gladiatorial stuff. You know? So speaking of gladiators, let's have a look at Amazon. Will the Federal Trade Commission have any success against Amazon? All right, money, money, money. Oh my God. All right, this is going to go on and on, I suspect. Okay. So in the middle, we have the King of Cups, often my Biden card, but in this case, representing, I think, the Federal Trade Commission. It's a tremendous burden of proof that they have to supply here. I think it's them having to supply it, not Amazon, unfortunately. Here is Amazon. Okay. So this burden is now on the Federal Trade Commission. It could represent some losses here for Amazon, but they will still have two cups standing, meaning they will still hold on to a lot of power and influence. The last card I pulled was the Three of Swords, multiple attacks on the heart, or in this case, the heart of the business. Pulled a clarifier, which is the opposite of a clarifier because the moon obscures. But this is a lunar eclipse here, a portal of power. So I think the Federal Trade Commission will be able to enter this portal and do something to restrict Amazon, and that will lead to other legislation. They won't suddenly be broke overnight. They won't suddenly become good and ethical employers or anything like that. I think it'll be trimming around the edges. But with this, it's the domestic dog and the wild dog trying to tame these corporate beasts. Right? and they are corporate beasts. So, my lovelies, here we are, and I'll be back really, really soon. I'm in Latin America for October. I'm staying in Buenos Aires, and I'll keep you posted. Okay, so you guys take care. I love you so much. Okay, bye for now. Ciao.